Could the New York Jets be drafting Ole Miss quarterback Jaxson Dart in the 2025 NFL Draft? We're going to talk about it on today's show because there were reports out there suggesting that the Jets drafting Jaxson Dart is gaining some serious steam. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome into the Jets Report. And then also on the second half of today's show, apparently the Jets are eyeing a big play, a speedster wide receiver on day 3 of the NFL Draft. I'll share with you guys who that is, and I'll give you guys my thoughts. But before we dive into it, the question of the day. Make the call for me. At pick number 7, would you draft Jaxson Dart? Give me a D for draft. Give me a P for pass. You guys make the call right here. If you guys are on the clock, are you taking the Ole Miss quarterback, Jaxson Dart? All right, so it's gaining steam because of NFL draft analyst Todd McShay suggests the Jets are very, very interested in Jaxson Dart. Now, does this mean round 1? Does this mean round 2? We'll have to wait and see. But McShay had an interesting quote the other day saying the Jets at number 7 should not be ignored. Drafting Dart. Just don't be surprised if that builds some steam in the coming weeks. Now, I have a lot of thoughts on Jaxson Dart, but I want to get this out here first. I couldn't be more against drafting Jaxson Dart at pick number 7. Number 1, I don't think he's worth a first-round pick whatsoever, let alone a top 10 pick. And especially with where the Jets roster is right now, you have a premium pick in a draft where, yes, it may not be as deep throughout the first round as the past couple of drafts, but still in that top 10, there are some blue-chip players out there who could potentially be wearing some gold jackets that the Jets could take at pick number 7. You're just going to take a flyer on Jaxson Dart. I would be very much against that. Now, we'll talk about round 2 here in a little bit, but this is also what Todd McShay had to say, saying the Jets are thrilled to have Justin Fields. He is going to be the starter. Let's move forward with him, but it's not a contract that absolutely locks them in. By bringing in Fields, they're certainly alleviated the necessity to take a quarterback. Let's finish our process. There's some love in that building for Jaxson Dart, and I hope that love in the building is for drafting Dart on day 2 of the draft. Now, I would still be against taking Dart at pick number 42, but it would not be as catastrophic if you were to take him at the 7th overall selection, because I think it could be a solid quarterback in the league where we could see him starting, a couple of seasons for some teams. But do I think he is a franchise quarterback? Absolutely not. And this past season at Ole Miss, he put up good numbers. We see the improvement every single year. But in that Lane Kiffin offense, it's a lot of gimmicky stuff, and they don't really ask the quarterbacks to make too many, crazy reads. And, there is improvement from Dart, like I was saying, over the last 4 years, which is stuff you just love to see. But still with Dart, I just don't think he's on the same class as Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. And, here are all the quarterbacks under pressure this season. You see the completion percentage higher for the two guys on the left side of your screen, and Dart 46.1, touchdown to interception ratio 4-3, big time throw to turnover worthy play 9-5. So it's not awful for Dart, but is that numbers that would indicate he should be a top 10 pick? I disagree. And my pro comp, and I've seen this floated out here, and I love it. It's Gardner Minshew, and Minshew is a solid NFL quarterback. He is probably the 35th best quarterback in the league. And I could see, Dart kind of falling into that same category where he is, he could be a serviceable starter. He could go win you some games if you have a stacked team around him. But if the Jets legitimately think they could take him at 7 and it's just going to flip a switch where the whole franchise is saved because you got that, franchise quarterback, which I don't think Dart is, I just think it would be a huge mistake. But my scouting report for him. So, and why I kind of get the Gardner Minshew comp here. So he's a good, not great athlete. Like, he is good enough to shake a tackle here and there, get outside the pocket, take off for a first down, but it's not like he is obviously like a Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen type of runner where it's like it is extremely hard to bring him on the ground. Now, his release is interesting to me because when he is like attempting to get the ball out quick, it is a very quick, condensed release. But when he is really winding up for these long throws over the middle of the field or down the sidelines, it kind of has a elongated motion, which obviously could result in strip sacks. But then again, like guys like Justin Herbert have a long release. Even a guy like Drake May has a longer release. But the one huge negative about Dart is his footwork in the pocket. It almost feels like his feet have a mind of his own where he just starts kind of panicking and he gets happy feet in the pocket. And especially with how elite these athletes are in the NFL on the defensive line, if you have shaky footwork and you can't buy yourself that extra half a second, I could see sacks being a major issue for Dart. Now, I will say he can make some big boy throws. We really saw that at Ole Miss this past season, just fitting the ball in the tight window. Now, can he throw wide receivers open? Not necessarily, because 34.2 of Dart's attempts went to wide open receivers. So it was, again, this gimmicky offense. That's why I think it's tough to get a read on Jaxson Dart in terms of if you're going to, really see if his game's going to translate to the next level. But new scenario for you. Let's kick it to round 2. The Jets are on the board at pick number 42. Would you draft him at that selection? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you would take Jaxson Dart at pick number 42 of the NFL draft. All right, let's talk about this big play speedster that the Jets are apparently targeting later on in the NFL draft, and that being Arian Smith, Georgia wide receiver. And this guy is a burner. He's one of the best athletes. He honestly should have been a track star, which he actually was, and that's what Jeremy Fowler said, saying the New York Jets have a 30-visit scheduled this week with Georgia wide receiver Arian Smith per source. One of the most explosive pass catchers in the class with an underappreciated game as a route runner, and he was the Florida high school state title winner in the 200-meter sprint, which is obviously awesome. Speaks to his athleticism there. And we saw the big play threat this past season at Georgia. Now, drops were 110% an issue for Arian Smith, having 10 drops and only 48 catches this year, but he was still able to go over 817 yards, 17 yards per catch, found the end zone 4 times, and this guy ran a ridiculous 40, a 4.36 40-yard dash, and he does come in at 6 foot, $180, so he's got decent size to him. It's not like he's a 5'7", 5'8" receiver who's a burner, but he also had a 38-inch vertical jump, a great 3-cone time. So definitely the athleticism is there, and I actually do think he's an underrated route runner. I do feel, though, like his route tree is limited, but I think this would be a fun developmental pick, but you would still need to add more talent to the wide receiver room. Now, honestly, if you make the argument where it's like, oh, the Jets could draft Tyler Warren or Elijah Roro in round 2, and that would kind of be your secondary pass catcher in the offense, then I would be okay with the Jets maybe not adding another wide receiver. But also, if you would have 3 speedsters like Gibson, Corley, and Smith, it would be very, very fun to watch. And maybe Tanner Engstrad's viewing him as his Jamison Williams guy. Like, maybe that's going to be his burner. That's going to be his deep post, his 9-route guy. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I think it's very telling that they took a top 30 visit on him. And I could really see him being a pick later on in the NFL draft. But hey, if you guys made it to the end of today's show, just hit me with the Go Jets down below in the comment section. We'll use this as a real one roll call on today's episode. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, you guys can hit me up on Twitter at Pat Sieps is the Twitter handle. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow right back. See you guys next time. As always, Go Jets.